Well, apologies for the break-up in the stream there. Hopefully all is well now, and you join us for the final lap now of the first race of the night in the 750 Motor Club Sim Championship powered by Grid Finder. This is round 4 of the championship, the bike sports at Oulton Park. Trafford King's advantage 2.1 seconds as he entered this final lap and on his way to a 7th consecutive victory and extend his championship advantage over Colin Cunniff once again, and should still have that bonus point for the fastest lap to boot as well. Colin Cunniff's challenge of second place has come to a bit of a swift end as he's now 2.7 seconds behind John Power, having been right on his tail earlier in the race. And as it stands, it would be Max Spooner who will be on reverse grid pole for the second race of the night in 10th place. But in the meanwhile, Trafford King making his way around his lop chicane and through Nookerbrook for the final time. I wonder how he's going to fare in the reverse grid race coming up next, because it seems like they're following in these cars. Not the easiest thing to do, and Oulton Park not often the easiest track to overtake on as well. So we've seen him come through from 10th on the grid to win the second race of the night in the previous 2 rounds. We'll see if he can do it in a few moments' time. But meanwhile, he comes through Lodge Corner for the final time and up Deer Leap, and Trafford King will take from pole position his 7th consecutive win in the championship and extends his advantage over Colin Cunniff in the point standings. Another faultless performance from Trafford King. John Power makes it another podium finish for him, his 6th of the season, and Colin Cunniff completes the podium as well, his 6th podium of the season as well.
Well, once again, King is king of the podiums. We'll see if he's able to do it once again in the succeeding races of this particular event. Like you say, Chris, it is not the easiest track to overtake on. Not that that stopped him in the past. Croft is not the rest of the action throughout the evening. Hopefully we'll have a chat with our drivers as well, or certainly our at the moment, it seems to be King and King we are speaking to quite primarily. But yeah, John Power, Colin Cunniff, they were kind of left to their own devices for quite a bit of that race. But I mean, who can stop Trafford King other than himself?
Seems to be, doesn't it? We'll see how he gets on in the reverse grid race in a few moments' time. It'll be Dan Jude starting on reverse grid pole, as you mentioned there, Chris. But another flawless performance from Trafford King. Some good battles a little bit further down the order as well, which bodes well for the reverse grid race coming up as well. Of course, 7th consecutive win for Trafford King, 8th overall. Of course, he took the win in the very first race in the MR2s at Silverstone, but rather came unstuck in the second race. That could well happen again for him. We saw cars going off inside the top 10 at the first corner on the first lap. So there is definitely some difficulties to be navigated at Old Hall Corner for the first time. Just while we wait to see if we're going to get Trafford King into the commentary box, just to give everyone a bit of an update on some of the latest 750 Motor Club news, because it may well have been the Christmas period, but no less busy, of course. So, of course, Autosport International coming up at the NEC Birmingham next week. The 750 Motor Club, as always, will be present, but with an even bigger and better display than ever. And all of the race-ready second-hand cars that will be on display at the show will be stand 3280 in hall number 3, by the way. They're all for sale, but they also...
it's such an amazing place to be, and it's so fitting that a club of such a prestige as 750 has, and the heritage and the history that the club has. It's wonderful to see such a big presence that 750 Motor Club will be showing at the Autosport International show. It's been a few years since I've been able to go, but I have been there in the past, and it's such an incredible place to be for any fan of any kind of motorsport. Almost milk float racing almost would have a stand there if they could. But if you have the opportunity, I absolutely implore you to check out the Birmingham NEC next weekend. It is going to be very much worth your while.
Absolutely. We won't be hearing from anyone, sadly, after the first race. So hopefully we'll catch up with some people after race number 2. So while we just wait for the second race to be set up, a bit more 750 Motor Club news. We have the pre-season track day announcement, which is going to be taking place on the 9th of March at Snetterton, running the 300 layout. So there will be spaces for all 20 of the club's formula, and it's a popular event as well, so be sure to get the spots in early. The sales will go live on Tuesday the 16th of January, so you don't want to miss that. And of course, all of the club staff, the formula reps, scrutineers, they'll all be on hand to help with any pre-season queries that you might have, as well as obviously giving you an opportunity to get some track time in before the season starts. All the details on the 750 Motor Club website, so go and check that out. And of course, I will remind you that the early bird registration discount will be opening very soon as well. That is Monday the 22nd of January, ends on Monday the 5th of February. You can bag yourself a free race entry, a free pre-season track day, some merch as well, some soft shell jackets from Talk Racewear, some gift vouchers as well for PBS brakes, and depending on which formula you're racing in, you can bag yourself a tyre discount as well. So again, all the details on the 750 Motor Club website. And also, before I forget as well, do be aware, if you are racing in the Formula V or the Hot Hatch Championship, then be sure to double check the calendar, because there have been some changes to the calendar over the Christmas break. The full calendar has been announced, so you can see which races are going to be live streamed as well by Alpha Live, and which races as well are going to feature the new social media show as well. Again, all the details on the 750 Motor Club website.
Fantastic. It's such a great statement for the 750 Motor Club, the way that it's embracing the social media aspect as well, which is it's difficult for a lot of other clubs to achieve. It's almost not so much a taboo, but very much an unknown for certain others that maybe of an older generation like me. It's great to see that the amount of coverage that 750 are putting into these races, these events, from a social media aspect and also from a streaming aspect. Alpha Live, a fantastic broadcasting agent. It just further enhances the experience from the driver's aspect, but of course from us wonderful spectators.
Certainly is. And of course, the 750 Motor Club Awards Night is to come as well, which will be on February the 10th, and the winner of this very championship will get a ticket to that event as well, celebrating the first 750 Motor Club Sim Champion. But we're about to go ahead to race number 2, so let's have a quick word from our sponsors. Race 2 in round 4 of the 750 Motor Club Sim Championship, powered by Grid Finder, about to get underway. It's the top 10 reverse grid race, another 15-minute encounter, still 20 points available for the victor. It will be Dan Jude starting on reverse grid pole in that white and red car on the left-hand side. And there we see, and the yellow car starting alongside him as well, as we wait for the lights to get started. And remember that Trafford King, our race 1 winner, will be starting down in 10th place. He's won the last 2 top 10 reverse grid races. Let's see if he can make it 3 in a row, or can anyone stop his charge after taking a 7th consecutive victory as well. Remember, John Power and Colin Cunningham were starting ahead of him as well. They joined him on the podium in race number 1. We look at Traffic King a little bit further down in the order. Another beautiful and packed 30-car capacity grid for the 750 Motor Club Sim Championships, proven to be hugely popular for the first time of asking. A wonderful way to continue racing here in the build-up to the 2024 season as the light sequence has started. We're about to get underway for the reverse grid race. Lights are out and Dan Jude makes a decent start, but he's being challenged on the outside, so he's going to be having to hold his ground into Oulton corner for the first time. He does manage to do so. Look like Traffic King and our front runners from the previous race did crucially manage to get away well. Max Spooner in that all-yellow car following him through, but off one of the yellow cars looks like Alex Horan having a moment at Cascades. And so he'll be dropping right down the order towards the rear of the field. A couple of other cars straggling through the grass. And up at the front of the field, Dan Jude has been able to get away nicely and putting a nice advantage. And that was one of the purple cars. Was that Traffic King? No, it was Colin Cunningham going off at the hairpin. He was also in the purple colours there. But Colin Cunningham, after finishing 3rd in the first race, is falling right down the order. And John Power, who finished 2nd, is also tumbling down the order. There he is, facing the wrong way at the hairpin. Excuse me, Traffic King was in green there. We just saw a glimpse of him, and he was up into 6th place by the looks of it.
Goodness me, a bit of a chaotic start, but Max Spooner is actually getting into 2nd position. We've just seen Dan Jude disappear out of the shot. 3.6 seconds to the goodness. That's nearly Tom O'Farrell in the Golf S colours. That's been my favourite colour scheme of the night. It's just come together with Forrester. And have they also won? No, Alex Forrester has gone off the road. You can see his name tumbling down the field. Oh dear, that was a contact and true as there he is just rejoining into 11th place. That's another golf colour actually, as Steve Boother has just gone up ahead of him into that 11th spot. As that's Peter Cornelius that is being challenged by the recovering Alex Hurren. The all-yellow car getting the power down, just coming out of Old Hall Lodge corner. But then they're still being challenged into Old Hall corner. Who's got the greatest bravery there? Oh, well, looks like Tom O'Farrell on the outside line of Cascades. Wow, that is quite brave when the pack is that close. But look how they're all still squabbling. That green car is Traffic King. So he hasn't been able to just carve his way through the field as quickly as we've seen in previous races. He's having to work for it. His next victim is Finley Tidmarsh. He's got Will Hardy on his tail. Jamie Peters-Ennis, who, like we say, is a reserve driver. He started at the back of the field, worked his way up to around the 14th mark before having trouble. He's now right the way up to 7th. He finished in 15th in the last race, so that's where he would have started this time. So well inside the top 10. But a lot of fighting still to do. But Dan Jude making hay when the sun shines.
Yeah, he's 4 seconds to the good after that opening lap. So while Max Spooner was busy defending his 2nd place, Dan Jude was busy building up a very nice advantage. That's going to make it very difficult for Traffic King to make it an 8th consecutive win. But this is Finley Tidmarsh in the all-yellow car. Again, we've got 2 all-yellow cars squabbling for position. It's Max Spooner leading that train of cars in 3rd place. Traffic King now looking to the inside into Lodge corner for 4th place and makes contact with Finley Tidmarsh. A half spin for Tidmarsh. The Traffic King goes through, and I wonder if the stewards will have to say anything about that, as Tidmarsh loses a place now to the red, white and black car of Will Hartley, who goes through into 5th place.
Well. People are really having to get their elbows out, and that's Finley Tidmarsh again in trouble coming down to Cascades. Car getting a little bit unsettled. He just bounces off the outside of Hartley, pulling her as he's trying to recover. Now Max Crawford right behind in 9th place. That's Peters-Ennis now up in 6th place, surviving that particular contretemps. Someone's locked up Emily, and that's on the wall. Oh no, I've just commentated against Jamie Peters-Ennis, and that's a huge incident. Lots of cars involved in this one. Oh my goodness me, people trying to recover, then having a spin of their own on the infield.
Well, an absolute mess down at the hairpin. That's shaken things up a little bit as we've got Harvey pulling a Ben Goodwin, Alex Horan now back inside the top 10, Alex Forster and Peter Cornelius now inside the top 10. This is John Power, who's still on the recovery drive in 24th place at the moment. Colin Cunniff, who we also saw go off on that first lap, is down in 16th place. Remember, these were the two drivers who joined Traffic King on the podium in the first race. And here is Traffic King looking at the back of Max Spooner now and trying to find his way into the podium placings. Max Spooner wise to the move that Traffic King pulled on the previous lap and defends into Lodge Corner. But surely Traffic King will get a lovely drive out of Deer Leap here onto the pit straight. He is all over the back of that all-yellow car, and on the inside here of Old Hall, they're going to go side by side on the exit of the corner as well. They make their way through the kink of Denton's. Spooner might just be able to hang it on the inside here of Cascades, and this is probably the hardest Traffic King's had to work for a place all season long as they make their way down the Lakeside Straight once again.
Very well driven from Max Spooner there, did not just give up the position. I mean, you could argue that this isn't realistically his fight, but it's an on-track position. There's no reason for him to just relinquish it just because Traffic King is the championship leader at the moment. So fair play, as far as I'm concerned. It's game on. You're absolutely right, Chris. Traffic King hasn't had to fight this hard probably all season long. But that, again, is part of the characteristics of the circuit. It's very hard to overtake here, but Traffic King nearly pushing Max Spooner side by side once again, but it's going to force the green and black car to the outside line. Can Max Spooner outbrake enough? Oh, this is going to be close. Yeah, Traffic King had to back out of it. There's impact between the two. Again, that's another impact that Traffic King's been involved with. Oh dear, I suspect the stewards may have a few incidents to look at this time. But on King's tail now, Finley Tidmarsh. But catching Traffic King is always a difficult thing. But Traffic King now has over 8 seconds to close in to Tom O'Farrell, a very, very quick driver in his own right. As we now look at Peter Cornelius, another one of those beautiful Golf livery cars on the back of Alex Forster. So can he challenge for a ninth position? He's applying the pressure. We'll see what he can do from here. Oh, someone at the back of the shot in trouble. There is another one of the Golf cars. That's Steve Boother that has found the inside line just after Water Tower, just after Druids. But sadly, his race being compromised somewhat as he gets back on field. Oh my, it's a lot to unpick from this one.
Yeah, so potential question marks over Traffic King, whether the stewards are going to look at that one. You've got to also put into consideration as well, this is where things get a bit complicated, because Tom O'Farrell might be there in second place, but he's a guest driver and isn't actually scoring points in this round. So as it stands, Traffic King would be getting a couple extra points there, as we see Peter Cornelius in that Golf-esque car that you mentioned there, Chris, looking at the back of Alex Forster for 9th and 10th place. As we're just approaching half race distance now, 7.5 minutes left on the clock. This is the state of play. Dan Jude leads by 1.7 seconds over Tom O'Farrell, who in turn is 7.5 clear of Trafford King. I dare say Trafford King's march towards a 8th consecutive race victory might well be coming to an end, as we saw Dan Jude there, who has a variety of different experiences under his belt. He's raced at Lotuses for a couple of years, and in the 750 Motor Club he's been part of the Road Sports and Club Enduro grid, and also runs the BSCS Motorsport team. That's where he spends most of his time now, running teams for customers, and at the moment is on course for his first win of the season. But I'm sure Tom O'Farrell is going to have something to say about it. Traffic King sets the fastest lap of the race. Tries to bring that gap down to Tom O'Farrell in second, but it's still hovering around 7.1 seconds. We've got battles happening a bit further down. This is James Madden coming under pressure from John Power on the recovery drive, remember, and John Power up now into 15th place. Remember, there's no reverse grid element to the third and final race of the night, so wherever they finish in this race, that's where they start the next one. So John Power not only is fighting for points in this race, but he's also fighting for a better grid position in the final race of the night.
Absolutely so, as we now look at Colin Cunniff and Jamie Peters-Ennis coming to blows now. Both of them making their way back up into 11th and 12th following a somewhat chaotic Shell's Oil Corner a few laps ago. Oh, what's happened to Finley Tidmarsh?
Sorry, but the lead gap has suddenly come down to half a second. It was 1.7 a moment ago, but now Dan Jude he's going to have a mirrorful of Tom O'Farrell as Finley Tidmarsh and Alex Hurren bang wheels once again. But something's happened to Dan Jude on this lap because the lead gap has come down to nothing. It's absolutely nose to tail going into Lodge Corner. O'Farrell is practically pushing Jude through that final corner, and with 5 minutes left on the clock, it's anybody's game now. Tom O'Farrell, who was a guest driver, we've not seen him all season long in the championship, could well now take the lead of this race. As he looks towards the inside at Cascades, Jude didn't get the best run off Lode Hall, and O'Farrell takes the lead of the race into Cascades. With 5 minutes left on the clock, can Dan Jude respond to that one? Don't forget Trafford King. I know we've only got 5 minutes left on the clock, but he's setting fastest lap after fastest lap as Alex Hurren gets it a bit wrong at the exit of Old Hall. But Trafford King, the gap now is down to 5 seconds, and his pace is amazing right now.
Absolutely so, as Ben Goodwin's in trouble. Well, there he is, rejoining stage right. He's had issues through Cascades, and either through impact or through over exuberant right foot as overextended. There is Trafford King up into third place. He is destroying the gap between himself and now Dan Jude. But look at the gap grow between Dan Jude and Tom O'Farrell. No disrespect meant to Dan Jude at all. He's a very experienced driver, very, very fast indeed. He's just got two absolute monsters on either side of him. Tom O'Farrell nearly a second clear of Dan Jude now, and Tom O'Farrell, he's just blindingly quick no matter what you put him in. But Trafford King has proven time and again that he can rise to any challenge ahead of him, as he's already nearly 9 seconds ahead of Max Spooner behind him. There's Ben Goodwin. We saw him having a bit of difficulty earlier on. He's just got a little bit too wide on the exit of Knickerbrook, but gathers it up once again as he continues on after Adam Parsonage.
Yep, this the battle for 12th and 13th. This is Colin Cunniff trying to make his way further up in the top 10. Peter Cornelius trying to get through on the outside there of Loshko, who's coming under pressure from Alex Forster. Colin Cunniff, another on the recovery drive. So it will be Cornelius leading that trio of cars into Old Hall in that blue and orange car, but only just over the red and white of Alex Forster. Throw a blanket over these three cars at the moment with 3 minutes left on the clock. And kind of here again, remember, not just fighting for points in this race, but for a better grid position in race number 3 as well. And Colin Cunniff, who finished third in race number 1, had dramas on the opening lap in this reverse grid race, trying to make his way through into potentially 8th place if he can clear these two cars in front of him. With that 2.5 minutes left on the clock now, Tom O'Farrell's advantage now 1.6 seconds, but Trafford King only 2.7 behind Dan Jude for second place, so we'll keep an eye on that as well. Looks like Finley Tidmarsh and Alex Hurren are still going hammer and tongs for 6th and 7th as well. As we see on the timing tower there, John O'Power making more progress, but gets a tap from behind and clips the barriers as well. I was about to say, making his way up, and now he's going to get a punt, as that was a little bit ambitious on the rejoin there. So John Power's race goes from bad to worse, as this battle for what is now 5th place is turning into a 3-car battle, because the white and green car there of Harvey Pullinger is being closed in by Finley Tidmarsh and Alex Hurren in the 2 yellow cars. So it's a proper banana split in the mirrors of Harvey Pullinger at the moment, as it's not settled for 5th place with less than 2 minutes to go now.
Very much so. I would not want to be Harvey Pullinger at the moment. These glaring yellow shapes in his mirrors growing ever bigger, and now trying to put the pressure on for that spot inside the top 5. As we see on the right hand side, Trafford King. That was a locker from Dan Jude there. He did not get the Britain chicane quite right, so that's going to allow Trafford King to close even closer in on him. There's battles all over the place. This is what we love to see. But how is this going to play out? 1 more minute to go. Oh, goodness me, it's anyone's game at the moment.
So this will be the penultimate lap then. And now is that Yes, that is a back marker in front of Dan Jude, isn't it? So we'll be coming on to the last lap very shortly. Traffic coming into play now in this battle for second place. It could well be a last lap manoeuvre here for Traffic King. The battle on the right-hand side we're watching is the one for second place. The one on the left being the battle for fifth place. Harvey Pullingham still managing to keep Finley Tidmarsh and Alex Hurren at bay. As we start now the final lap of the race, Tom O'Farrell is well clear, but Dan Jude in that white and red car still trying to keep the 7-time race winner this season, Traffic King, behind him. Traffic King, the Type R trophy racer in real life, the top rookie from 2023, and looking to extend those honours in a second season of competition. Now looking towards the inside at Island Bend. A beautiful move by Traffic King on the last lap of the race to take second place away from Dan Jude, who led this race in the early stages quite commandingly, and he will have to settle for a podium place now as Tom O'Farrell is making his way down Foster's Straight and towards Hislop's for the final time. The guest driver for this round, he won't be scoring points for this win, but he certainly made a statement about his abilities. Maybe we'll see him in a future 750 Motor Club Sim Championship, as he has 4.4 seconds over that battle for second place, and he is going to be the man who's going to bring Traffic King's reign of terror to an end here, as Traffic King has won 7 on the bounce, 8 in total. Sorry, I should correct myself, but a brilliant drive from Tom O'Farrell in this reverse grid race as he makes his way through Lodge Corner for the final time, and Tom O'Farrell wins race number 2 in round 4 of the 750 Motor Club Sim Championship, powered by Grid Finder. Traffic King, for the first time in a long time, is going to have to settle for second place, and Dan Jude will join him on the podium after some wonderful racing from him. Max Spooner will be in fourth, and Finley Tidmarsh was about to take a 6th place there behind Harvey Pullingham, but a big moment at Lodge Corner on the final lap means that Alex Hurren will finish in 6th place, and Finley Tidmarsh will have to settle for 7th. Colin Cunniff has made up a little bit of ground since we last saw him. He was in 8th with Peter Cornelius 9th, and Alex Forster in 10th.
Wow, what a finish to race number 2. Goodness me. You got a feel for Finley Tidmarsh there. Right at the end, final corner of the final lap. Oh no, it's again, we've just seen it. That's Jensen Swift, too much right foot on the final turn. Every sim racer has done it. I imagine quite a few real life racers have done it as well. Particularly if you've had a particularly rough race, you just want to get it over and done with. You give it too many beans to get to the flag, and the tail just lets go on you, making your day even worse. Goodness me, but wow, Tom O'Farrell really making a name for himself. But again, you can't take it away from Travis King. Once again, few questionable moments. I mean, he's not impervious to a mistake here and there. So the stewards may well have to look at that. It's all down to what the drivers report. In this championship, it's not just down to what the stewards see. It is down to what the drivers bring to the stewards' attention. But that is a decision for off track. It's not something we will talk about here and now. And again, I always mourn the lack of the end of the second race, because our evening is drawing to a very quick, swift close. Can't even get the right words out. But again, very different outcomes, very different battlings going on, and it's just wall-to-wall action, which is exactly what we love to see.
It certainly is, and an absolutely fantastic drive from Tom O'Farrell to take the victory there. That is the first time that Trafford King has not won a race since the end of the opening round at Silverstone in the MR2s way back when, where he finished second. So it's been a long time coming, and I don't know, there's a slight sort of irony actually in the fact that it's a guest driver not scoring points that's denied Trafford King there. And we should stress, it is second provisionally. There were 2 incidents there where Trafford King made contact, so we will have to wait and see what the stewards say after the event and see where he does end up, because of course we're going into the final round of the championship pretty soon. Our 5th and final car track combination of the season will be the F1000s at Donington Park on January the 20th. where we will potentially be training Trafford King champion. But in the meantime, let's chat to our race 2 winner, Tom O'Farrell. Tom, what a debut you're having in this championship, a guest driver for tonight, and you've won the second race.
Hello, yes. I don't really know where that pace came from, if I'm honest. A bit of a surprise.
I mean, so because you've not been part of the championship, maybe you've been watching, but Trafford King has won 7 races on the bounce, and you're the first driver since the opening round of the season to beat him in a race.
Oh, I can only apologise to Trafford then.
Yeah. So tell us, how are you finding being part of this championship? How is the overall atmosphere? And more importantly, how are you finding the car?
Oh, it's great fun. I must admit, I'm used to driving something a lot slower and front-wheel drive at the moment. So the fact that this is completely the opposite, and honestly, it's great fun. This circuit just flows with this car. It's fantastic. Yeah, honestly, I didn't kind of expect to get in podiums or anything like that. I was quite happy sitting towards the back of the grid, but honestly, I'm quite happy with that. I'll take that.
Oh, fantastic. Unfortunately, you've missed the slow front-wheel drive cars with the MR2s and the Type Rs earlier in the season. So tell us, what are we planning for the rest? Will you be joining us for the final round with the F1000s at Donington?
Or who knows? I was going to do the full series, but work commitments and other broadcasting commitments and all that sort of thing got in the way. Let's see if I have time. Let's see. Toby Owen was nice enough to offer me this round, so we'll see if I can get another invite for the next time.
Well, yeah, absolutely fantastic to have you with us. Before I let you go, because we want to try and squeeze one more interview in before the final race, it's going to be you and Trafford on the front row of the grid now. What do you think is going to happen? Can you keep him behind?
I'm not scoring points. He's probably about a second quicker than me on pace. Yeah, we'll see. I'm here to have a race, but I don't want to destroy any championships. So if I don't want to take him out or anything, and that blows his chances. So, yeah, it'll be fair play.
Don't worry, he's all clear. He can afford an incident or two.
In that case, then. I
feel like that GIF clip of obviously don't do that, and then Ted Lasso comes in saying, no, you do whatever you want. Tom, thanks for joining us. We'll let you get ready for race number 3. And
cheers,
hopefully we will have a quick chat with Dan Jude as well. I see he's in the waiting room.
It somehow seems disingenuous to call the Hondas slow.
Yes, that is true. That is true, actually. But we do have Dan Jude in the commentary box with us now. Dan, wow, what an ending to that race. And you had such a mammoth lead after the start, but you hung on to the podium. How was that race for you?
Yeah, a bit frustrating, to be honest. I let Tom go because he's just a guest driver. So I thought there's no point in sort of, fighting with him and letting everybody else get close. So I let him go. And then, unfortunately, I thought Trafford might catch me, but then I just got held up through Druids with a back marker. And then that was that, yeah.
Well, yeah, and that's how it goes in racing sometimes, isn't it? And we have seen the traffic has come into play, particularly at a circuit as tight as Oulton Park. But you're going to get another crack at it now, starting from third behind Trafford and behind Tom in this final race of the night. What do you expect to happen?
I expect I will probably go backwards. I don't have a lot of pace in these cars. This is my least favourite combo so far. It just doesn't click with me, unfortunately, but I certainly wasn't expecting to be up the front in that race there. So,
well, if your worst car track combo of the season is you getting a podium in the reverse grid race, then I think that's a really good mark to end on. Your third podium of the season there, of course, so hopefully you can make it a fourth.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just trying to get in the top 5 in the championship. I had an absolute nightmare start at Silverstone and with a PC issue, so I qualified eighth, I think, and started from the pit lane with a 30-second penalty, and the night just sort of didn't really get much better from there. So just been trying to claw my way back up the championship ever since.
Yeah, well, we can see you are pretty close. They're about 20 points behind Adam Parsonage going into this penultimate round of the season. So we wish you all the best in that fight. We'll let you get ready for race number 3, which is coming up in just a few moments' time. So let's have a quick word from our partners. That Moza Racing R5 bundle worth £500 being the top prize that these guys are fighting for, as well as a spot at the 750 Motor Club Awards Night on the 10th of February. Second place will also get the an AE Racing training session from a current GT3 driver, as well as a rig mat from Upshift Store. Third place coming away with a Track Racer seat mount kit, as well as £50 of tekiwa.com vouchers. A reminder, all the race winners from this season get a Track Titan training subscription and a 750 Motor Club trophy as well. All the podium finishers getting 750 Motor Club merch as well. So plenty of prizes on offer for these drivers, as we are about to conclude round 4 of the 750 Motor Club Sim Championship, powered by Grid Finder, the penultimate round of the season before we crown a champion with the F1000s at Donington Park. Not just the overall championship, but of course the 750 Motor Club Members Championship as well. It's looking very similar, actually, with Traffic King and Colin Cunniff being the top 2 in the standings there, as well as the overall championship going into this round. I dare say things might have shaken up just a little bit with the action we've seen so far tonight. Traffic King will be extending his advantage, and now can he get himself back up onto the top step of the podium? Tom O'Farrell being the first driver since the opening round of the season to beat Trafford King to the top step of the podium. I'm sure he won't be taking that line down. Dan Jude starting from 3rd position as well. As the engine notes rise, we have all the lights on. It's lights out for the final race of the night. Traffic King getting away very nicely from the front row of the grid, but he will be on the outside line going into Old Hall corner, but that doesn't stop him. Trafford King, the championship leader in that green and white car, takes the lead away from Tom O'Farrell, the pole sitter, down to 2nd place. Dan Jude holding place in 3rd, and off goes Harvey Pullinger. Harvey Pullinger, who was 4th in the championship, going off in the opening lap of the race before we even got to Cascades. As the rest of the field make their way through, Alex Horan up into 3rd place in that yellow car. He's been involved in so many battles off the road. Colin Cunniff once again coming into strife on the opening lap of the race. This time he didn't even make it to the hairpin. It was all kicking off at Island Bend for him. Alex Forster here in 6th place. Looking at the back of Finley Tidmarsh, the other all-yellow car. We see the other all-yellow car of Alex Horan is up into 3rd place there, ahead of Dan Jude. Then Finley Tidmarsh, then Alex Forster. A couple of cars not quite making it through Britain's safely at the first time of asking.
No, a few scenic routes having to be taken on this occasion, but we'll see if, people have been able to make their way back into the field, so we'll see if those drivers have gone exploring are able to do so. Traffic King had an absolutely lightning side. I wondered if he jumped the start indeed, as he was able to just launch away. And a couple with Tom O'Farrell having quite a slow start, denied him the lead coming through Old Hall corner. So Tom kind of staring at the back of Trafford's rear wing. Already 2.7 seconds between Tom and Alex Horan. So those two breaking away up top. Meanwhile, the rest of the pack are all squabbling for their own bit of real estate. Max Spooner just flirting with the grass on the exit of Lodge Corner. But so far so good for him. He's got Keith Whitby hot on his tail as they're trying to challenge Peter Cornelius. Again, there is a little bit of AstroTurf on that outside line coming through Oulton corner. Either way, it's still very bumpy. It's still very risky for drivers to go that far out in these cars. They're very, very low slung. Most race cars are very low slung, I grant you. But these things really don't like it. They get very, very unsettled very easily. Finley Tidmarsh trying that high line going into shallow corner. It can work, but didn't pay off for him as he continues to challenge Dan Jude. Dan Jude hanging on to the back of Alex Hurren. He thought, Dan, when we spoke to him, thought he would go backwards. Oh, commentator curse, that's another one for me! As Finley Tidmarsh nearly slammed into the back of Dan Jude as he's recovering from that slide off coming through Britain's now down towards the Hislop chicane. Bit of a lock up there from Dan Jude. He's just about hung on a fourth, but Finley Tidmarsh pushing his way through and gives a bit of a tap to Dan Jude. Here comes Forster as well. Huge incident on the exit of Knickerbrook. That's called 3 cars, all of them red and white. Goodness me. So that's Dan Jude and Alex Forster that are off the road. That's Alex Forster trying to find a moment to rejoin the track. He doesn't want to just banzai his way into a queue. He's doing the right thing. He's ruined his race, but he's absolutely doing the right thing and picking the right moment to return to the track.
Oh, there were so many cars in that battle for the last spot on the podium. Something was bound to give eventually, wasn't it? Trafford King has completed his second lap, 3.2 seconds clear of Tom O'Farrell, who in turn is 2.9 clear of Alex Hurren and 2.4 clear of Finley Tidmarsh for Peter Cornelius, who's got Max Spooner for very close company, as we're following Keith Whitby at the back of that particular battle. And now coming under pressure from James Madden in the green car, who's got an excellent run out of Cascades. He's going to take 2 in 1 here into Island Bend. James Madden, oh no! Max Spooner in the yellow car, not quite making it round Island Bend. But that does not take anything away from James Madden, who had the best run out of Cascades to take 2 of them down the Lakeside Straight.
That was a storming run from James Madden there. We couldn't quite see if there was impact between himself and Max Spooner. It could have been that Max was just trying to give a little bit more room than he actually had to give that, but either way, James Madden up into 6th position. We can see Francis Twyman falling down the order. He's had problems as he's down into 17th position now, but James Madden looking at the back of Peter Cornelius. There is Francis Twyman. Where is that? That's a Britain chicane. So again, he's made one mistake that spun him round and he couldn't rejoin the track. He had to find a safe way to do so. Peter Cornelius in the Gulf colours, now up into 5th place, still with what must feel like a world's worth of pressure staring at him in his rearview mirrors.
Well, James Madden's got to keep an eye out for Keith Whitby here in the orange, black and white car, and that's why, because Madden's gone wide on the exit of Lodge Corner, and as they rise up through Deer Leap, Keith Whitby makes his way through into 6th place. James Madden, after that wonderful manoeuvre, finds himself back down into 7th place, and with Will Hartley and Adam Parsonage for close company. So it might be fairly spread out right at the front of the field, but this battle for 5th place is absolutely stellar as we're about a third of the way through this final race of the night. Peter Cornelius in that Golf-esque car starting to pull away from this battle as they're squabbling amongst themselves. James Madden looking to try and reclaim that 6th place spot in that green and yellow car from Keith Whitby in the orange, black and white. They make their way through Britons, and this is Max Spooner we saw going off on the previous lap. Looks like things are going from bad to worse for him as he's down to 21st place now, losing out to Harvey Pullinger and Heisman as well. Back up at the front of the field, Trafford King stretching his legs, 3.9 clear of Tom O'Farrell. Trafford King back in his more usual position that we're used to seeing him in so far this season. Doing a fine job out there, taking the lead off the line from Tom O'Farrell, who started this race on pole position, remember. We've rejoined the battle a little bit further back as Adam Parsonage, also in the green and yellow car, trying to get past Will Hartley here in the red and black. Hartley defends into Lodge Corner. The old up and under for Parsonage here, but a little too eager on the throttle as he had to gather up quite a big moment at the exit of the corner, and that's compromised his run onto the pit straight, which means Will Hartley can resume the traditional racing line into Old Hall with 8 minutes left on the clock. This is the battle for 7th, 8th and 9th as James Madden has fallen away from Keith Whitby and who in turn has closed in on Peter Cornelius for 5th place. So 2 little battles happening there for 5th and 6th, and then 7th, 8th and 9th. As Parsonage here has got a wonderful one down the lakeside straight, and on the inside of Island Bend, this hasn't worked for too many people on the outside. It's worked for Parsonage, and Will Hartley was able to back out of it in time to still make it round the corner. Jamie Peters-Ennis there in the white and red car joining the party as well in 10th place. And look at these cars battling for position. You've got Cornelius, Whitby, Madden, Parsonage, Hartley and Peters-Ennis separated by very little at all. And I'll tell you what, closing in on them as well, 2.7 seconds back is John Power, as that looks to be Peters-Ennis challenging on the outside of Will Hartley into his lop chicane, but couldn't do anything with it.
Not yet, but he is really determined to do so. Yeah, there you see the yellow car. John Power is closing in, and a hell of a rate of knots to this, well, quite impressive conga line we've got going on here. 7 minutes remain of our third race here at Oulton Park. There's Adam Parsonage. Is he shaping up a move on James Madden? Can't quite pull alongside the pair of almost Lotus-esque liveried cars. Can't quite get it done. Oh no, that's Peters-Ennis. That's had a bit of a moment, a big tank slapper just as the car got light coming through Lodge Corner. And that is what sent him off into the wall. He's lost that position to John Power and to Colin Cunliffe as well. But the battle up ahead of them continues. Will Hartley is looking at the back of Adam Parsonage. John Power closing in hard.
Certainly is. That gap that was over 2 seconds now down to 1.0 in what is now 10th place after the little moment there for Peters-Ennis. This is Keith Whitby in that orange and white car. He has closed in on Peter Cornelius there, but equally he's still coming under big pressure from James Bannon and Adam Parsonage behind as they make their way through Britons once again. Just under 6 minutes left on the clock now, so well into the second half of this race now. That will close out the penultimate round of the championship, and a little scruffy through his lops on that occasion there for Keith Whitby. That has given Cornelius just a bit of reprieve. Ooh. As there was a big moment on the exit of Knickerbrook for Keith Whitby, but because James Madden was so close behind him, he couldn't really do anything with it. That's given Parsonage a bit of a run, but he wasn't able to do anything with it. But on the exit now of Druids Corner, he's got a run down Warwick Bridge. So John Powers made his way through into 9th place there ahead of Will Hartley. That's a change of position there as John Power makes his way back up the order, and James Madden was just about able to hang on to 7th place, but for how much longer? Because Parsonage is all over Madden's car here, although as I say that, Parsonage gets a little wide at Old Hall.
Well, it took quite a few corners for John Power to wrestle that position out of Will Hartley. Now Colin Cunliffe has joined this conga line. There he is in the purple car, the back of what is now this 7-car conga line. The 2 green cars are arguing for who's going to have the inside line coming through Island Bend as we now hit Shell Oil's corner once more. A bit more of a lock up there. Colin Cunliffe thinking about how he's going to try and get past Will Hartley. Then John Power already having a look at the inside of Adam Parsonage, who in turn is trying to challenge James Madden. That's too deep for Power. That's going to cost him momentum. There goes Will Hartley again. These two resuming their duel along with Parsonage and Madden. Directly ahead of them. It is just non-stop with these cars.
And still Parsonage is looking at the back of Madden's car as John Power trying to hang on to this 9th place spot ahead of Will Hartley and Colin Cunliffe as well. As Madden and Parsonage look like they're going to go almost side by side into Druids once again. Less than 4 minutes left on the clock now, so last opportunity to score some points in this race. And the last few laps of this car track combination, it's 5 different car track combos that we see throughout these seasons. Colin Cunliffe looks to the outside. Who's that that's just gone off? It looks like Keith Whitby was involved in an incident there with Peter Cornelius. That battle for 5th and 6th has resulted in both of those cars coming a cropper at Lodge Corner, and that has put James Madden now up into 5th place, with John Power managing to get about Adam Parsonage and all of that as well. So suddenly John Power's gone from barely getting inside the top 10 to now looking at the top 5 finishes. He's got to run down the lakeside straight and looking towards the inside of Island Bend. John Power through into 5th place, and James Madden comes unstuck at Island Bend, and that beautiful defence of that position has come to a terrible end as he loses out to Parsonage, Hartley and Cunniff. And to Peters Ennis as well, for good measure.
Yeah, Jamie Peters Ennis just catching James Madden at a slightly awkward moment there. But where on earth did John Power suddenly find that pace from? An absolutely awesome exit from Cascades. Just put him in that position. Oh no, James Madden is still struggling to get himself pointing the right way. He's now down to 15th position. That's Steve Bentley that's just gone past. So what a shame for... Oh no, Will Hartley's now off from 7th place. Now James Peters Ennis has gone past into 7th place. Oh, goodness me, they're all falling off all over the place.
Yeah, so is Colin Cunniff as well, so I wonder if the two are related. Parsonage.
Technical trouble.
Connection trouble, or wheel trouble, perhaps. He's still going.
I wonder if that's a VR problem. I wonder if his VR suddenly froze. If he's running in VR, of course. I have raced in VR before, and if your display suddenly freezes, that is what will happen. You have no idea which direction you're pointing in. So, but that was most certainly a technical issue there for Adam Parsonage.
Yeah, looks to have gotten away with it with only minimal damage, thankfully. As James Madden's in the pits, so his race looks like it's going to come to an abrupt end, sadly, after what was a beautiful defence of that position for so long. This is Colin Cunniff in 10th place, trying to get his way back up the order after what looked like some sort of incident down at the Hislops chicane, potentially. He's looking at the back of Steve Boother in that blue and orange car in front of him as they make their way round at a beautiful up and under at the Shell Oils hairpin, and Colin Cunniff makes his way up into 9th place. Of course, clear by the time they turn into Britons.
Wow, expertly executed manoeuvre there from Colin Cunniff. Steve Boother had no answer to that at all as we start the final lap. Once again, 12 seconds to the good for Traffic King. Goodness me. He's just been absolutely near impregnable in any machinery, in any circuit that we've seen in this championship.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be one thing if he was great at the Type R trophy that we ran at Thruxton, for example, given that he's been racing the Type Rs in real life. But the fact that he has been just unstoppable in every single car track combo that we've thrown at him, well, it's exactly why he is leading the championship by such a margin, and surely could even wrap it up with a couple of races to spare at the Donington Park finale with the F1000 in a couple of weeks' time. Meanwhile, he's on his way on his final lap now. We enjoy some on board with him as well, because this man's been the class of the field, dominating not just the overall championship, but of course the 750 Motor Club members sub-championship as well. Colin Cunniff was second in both of those championships going into this 4th and penultimate round of the season. And trafficking, remember, we're still going to see the results of race number 2. There are a couple of incidents at play there, but his reign did come to an end, but it's going to be a very brief hiatus from the top step of the podium. Trafford King, championship leader, exits Lodge Corner, makes his way across the line, back on the top step of the podium in race number 3 in round 4 of the 750 Motor Club Sim Championship, powered by Grid Finder. He's got one hand on the trophy already. Tom O'Farrell, wonderful debut day in the championship as he takes 2nd place. Only a few tenths of a second ahead of Alex Hurren in the end. He really closed up towards the end of that race. Finley Tidmarsh will eventually take 4th place, and John Power here, if he just about survives the final corner, will take 5th place, coming out on top after a monumental scrap in the second half of that race, with Adam Parsonage coming home in 6th. Then it will be Jamie Peters Ennis, and then Will Hartley, Colin Cunniff and Steve Boother, the top 10.
My goodness me. Yeah, John Power feeling the need to do a bit of last-minute lawn mowing on the outside of Lodge Corner, which is so easy to. We've seen time and again how easy these cars get unsettled. Which bodes interesting actually for our final round of the championship, the F1000s at Donington Park. Now again, Donington, superb circuit. The F1000s are not easy to drive. They are very twitchy. And yeah, very momentum-based car. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see how our drivers tackle them. But for now, the day once again belongs to Trafford King.
It certainly does. Very much a hand of the trophy at this point, and looks likely to be coming away with that Moza Racing R5 bundle, the pedal and wheel combination worth £500, and we'll be seeing him potentially at the 750 Motor Club Awards Night on February the 10th. Although I think he'd be going there anyway as the top rookie in the Type R Trophy in real life. Last year, so I don't know. Maybe that gets him a +1, a free +1 for the night. It's definitely it's a fantastic night if you are one of the drivers or team members and you haven't actually experienced it yet. I do strongly urge you to do so. But of course, still plenty to fight for as well. Of course, that training session from a GT3 driver, rig mat from Upshift store. For the second place driver up for grabs, Track Racer seat mount and Tekiwa.com vouchers as well for the third place driver as well. That is still all to play for as well. So lots to look forward to as we'll see if we get any drivers joining us in the commentary box. So while we wait for that, I will just run you through the headlines of the 750 Motor Club once again while we've been away on a Christmas break. Just a reminder that 750 Motor Club will once again be very present at the Autosports show next week, running from Thursday through to Sunday, and they will be at stand 3280 in hall number 3, and all of the race ready secondhand cars that you see there are for sale and will be available with 2 free race entry fees as well. So be sure to pop along and see 750 Motor Club as well, and also for a demonstration of all the different formula and some interviews on the live stage as well. I'll remind you of the other headlines in just a second, because we've got Trafford King for the first time tonight in the commentary box. Trafford, that start was something else.
I think I needed that one. It was it was going to get a bit fruity if not.
Yeah, I mean, we saw plenty of drama going on behind you. But first of all, I have to ask, you were dethroned in race number 2. How did that feel?
Oh no, I could see him, and pace was there, but from start of race, I just didn't have. I wasn't close enough. When I got up there, he'd gone.
Well, it had to come to an end sooner or later. But in the meantime, races 1 and races and 3 were absolutely superb. We were saying it in race 2 that it's probably the hardest you've had to work for a place all season long.
Yeah, as soon as I saw a gap, I had to go for it. Then I thought I'll push on now. But race 1, I messed up a little bit. I tried to sort of keep the tyres a little bit better for longevity at race, and then realised that the slower I went, the colder they got, and then it was just a domino effect. So I was struggling like hell. So I thought if I just keep on it, the tyres will stay in.
Well, we barely even noticed. We couldn't see anything wrong with your performance from up here. So it's great to hear those little insights that really you probably only feel from inside the car. And speaking of which, how has it been with the bike sports? Very different type of car. Of course, we've had like the front wheel drive, sort of tin tops. We've had the KTRMS cars, and now a sort of almost a prototype type of car. So how has it been on the Oulton Park circuit?
It's just the speed of them is a massive difference. Obviously with Civics, they're sort of a little bit lazier, so you can get away with it, especially in front wheel drive. These just want to fire into the wall at every chance possible.
Well, I hope you have gotten used to them because, of course, we've got the F1000s coming up in a couple of weeks' time at Donington Park. And I have a feeling this is the one that everyone's really looking forward to.
I haven't really had a go at them yet, but I think they'll be. I saw them when I was there myself, so they should be good fun.
Yes, in fact, I saw them for the first time ever at Oulton Park earlier this year as well. And I can tell you, they did hop and skip around quite a bit. So really looking forward to seeing you guys take on that challenge as well.
Yeah, definitely. Should be a good laugh with everyone.
All right, brilliant.
So we've got a bit more room, haven't we?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for joining us, Trafford. We will let you get on, and congratulations again. 2 more victories to add to the tally.
No worries, cheers.
Well, that brings an end to the action in round 4 of the 750 Motor Club Sim Championship, powered by Grid Finder. Now, I said I was going to run you through those headlines once again, and I will just remind you of them because it's very important. Make sure you go and check the 750 Motor Club news page because there's been plenty going on while we've all been on a Christmas break. So the 9th of March, Snetterton 300, the pre-season track day. Be sure to book your slot. The tickets will go on sale on Tuesday, the 16th of January. And I'm going to remind you once again, Monday the 22nd of January, the early bird registration. Bag yourself some discounts for the season and take advantage of that because it will close on Monday the 5th of February. Chris, some closing thoughts from tonight. We've seen more action and more wonderful drama. We've only got 1 round left in the championship.
Very sad, but it's a very different type of car yet again. Very fragile. They will not take the kind of elbows out racing that we've seen in some of the other cars and somewhat of what we saw today. So, driver discipline, the racing line, the way that pressure is applied and defended against, it's going to be so important. It's a very different discipline. Like you say, the pressure is off Trafford King somewhat, but, he's going to give it everything. He's still got the blinding pace out there. But it's a very different story when it comes to racecraft. But from what we've seen tonight, it's, again, very brilliant night's racing. Some unfortunate moments for some drivers, but I have loved every second of it.
It's been another wonderful night of racing here in the 750 Motor Club Sim Championship, powered by Grid Finder. If we don't see you at the Autosport Show next week, we'll see you for the season finale, the F1000s at Donington Park on January the 20th. See you then.